So the holiday farm fire was an extremely fast-moving fire. The area we're at right now was a high-intensity burn, moved really hot in an old-growth forest. Looking at it from this side, this tree would not need to be removed. There was no significant signs that it needed to be removed. And actually, during the initial fire, they did not remove this tree, obviously, because they didn't think it posed a great threat. We'll walk around to the other side and you'll see that it's a pretty large threat and it needs to come down, unfortunately.
So this tree was a behemoth. It was before the fire, it still is after the fire, and everybody who looks at it is not excited about the prospect of taking it down. It's less than 10 feet from the highway. It is over 100 feet tall.
Due to the tree's large size and location, we're unable to conventionally fall it. We brought a small crane into this location to remove the top and take out all the limbs so that it would at least be safe in the meantime while we waited for a larger crane to come to the project site where we then could remove it. However, the problem became that we removed the top 2 weeks ago, and within that time frame, an osprey has decided to take its nest, and there are a mother and a father there, and they are sitting on it, which means there are eggs. So now we need to wait.
The whole hazard tree situation is for us a big issue because every hazard tree is, from animals' perspective, often a habitat tree, because old trees are trees which are full of cavities, and cavities are great. That's the natural nesting site of so many of our raptors. In the ideal world, this wouldn't have been necessary, but the tree has to be removed now. And we looked around for alternatives for trees within the vicinity which would be able so that we could translocate the nest. There is nothing right there which is high enough and suitable. So the only option this way is actually to take the eggs and bring them here. And we usually try to re-nest if that's possible, but this is of course not a re-nesting case.
Our original plan was to retrieve the young from the nest and rehab them at the Cascade Raptor Center. At 7:30 a.m., we actually got really decent drone footage of what was going on inside the nest. We had 2 very, very young osprey and 1 egg. And so given that new information and with the input of the Raptor Center veterinarian on site, we ended up deciding as a group and through some coordination with the ODOT higher-ups that relocating the nest was really the best thing for these animals.
Nothing positive about seeing that video for me, because if the babies were really small, there was an egg in there. That means I have one thing to hatch and I have 2 really small babies which are so prone to imprinting. And
we're gonna put a pole up.
Let's go get the pole.
Get the pole, get the platform ready.
Yep.
Even if it's the last minute decision, it's still the best.
So the new plan right now is that we're going to be digging a hole for the pole to go into. We've got a pole that we've used from a hazard tree that was felled down at Ben K. Doris Park. It's now going to be put in and rigged up and lifted up. We'll build a platform at the top of it so that when the nest gets transferred over, that'll be the new location for the osprey chicks and their family.
Everybody was very quickly on one page. We want to do the best for the birds. And I was hugely impressed with the team, how the different entities pull together on this.
Travis is going in the tree right now to rig a block, and that block will then be tied to the top of the tree so that it acts as basically a pendulum to be able to lift the tree.
So hopefully what we can do is bring it up to about 10 degrees off, thereabouts, and then break Robert free and start backfilling on it. And we'll just slowly kind of keep working it up a little bit until we can get it up square. For something that doesn't happen every day, it's something that went quite well. You know, this is old school logging, something we don't practice anymore.
It just takes coordination. I think, you know,
Yeah.
we have people and eyes everywhere, machines, to make sure that that tree stays where it needs to go.
And it's a fun day at work.
It is.
Not something you get to do every day.
Yeah. And I'm really excited that we all could come together and make this happen today.
I built this platform over the weekend, built a 3-foot by 3-foot cedar box, plank boarding in the bottom with gaps for airflow. That way it has water drainage and airflow to the nest. We're pretty excited to get putting this up in a little bit here.
All right, so I just want to kind of go over our plan for this pretty important event, I think for all of us here. Plan right now is Lachlan and Will are going to go up in the man basket. They're going to grab the chicks and bring them down. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then they'll be tended to and kept warm. And then we're going to go back up, grab the nest. Once the nest is on, so it'll be on a hold.
Line up a little more. Hey babies.
I got one egg.
2 chicks and 1 egg.
She's not gonna attack you. He's only gonna swoop by as close as he can to irritate you.
Yep, I'm with you. I'll be ready in just a second here. Want the flippers shut?
Yeah.
Oh, don't drop.
Alright, boom us to the right.
Easy peasy.
Nice and smooth. Great. One egg and 2 babies.
I think it might just be 2 babies because normally ospreys don't hatch with such a distance. So that's always possible that 1 egg is not fertilized. But I had a very quick glance. They look pretty good. They're very young. So it was a good call what we made to move it from last week.
Up there. Back. She's wondering what her babies are. I'm not happy. Big nest. There we go. Yep. Ready? There we go. Perfect.
Compliments on the mother for building a strong nest.
Yeah, seriously. Maybe I'll support it and crawl out, switch harnesses. Yep. Oh, you clipped in? Yep. You're clipped in? Yep. Perfect. All right, Antonio, we are ready to go up. I think I might be able to slide this right in at this height. It's
I got it
perfect.
moving, Joel. I'll run up there and do that.
Just gonna push the nest right into her. All right, we are clear. Yep, you can set us down to those excavator tracks.
Very well done that far, honestly. It worked so quick and so smooth that far. She's been the whole time here and watching us, so I think we're good. She hasn't been away a minute.
Clipped in also. We are good to go. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Nothing that we can do but wishing from nearby.
Drinks on me if this works out.
Come on. Oh, she just looks at that one spot. Come on.
20 minutes until we pull them.
Oh my goodness.
It's been about an hour and a half, and
Understood.
the decision was made to take the chicks off the platform because there's no adults present.
He definitely gave it a chance. He definitely gave it a really good shot. Yeah, you're hungry now. Fish, Nappy. Fish now.
Oh, you've named them?
Yes,
George and
Lachlan.
Lachlan?
Well, we gave it our best shot.
We were really just waiting on bated breath for that Osprey to show any sign of interest in it. And it got close several times, but at the end of the day, it was just not what it was looking for.
It's nicely quiet compared to last time, so that's a good start. And the birds were on the nest this morning, and the babies are a lot more vocal. And they are in very good condition. Last comment, Will, if you have him up there, try to, if you can place him in a spot where it's not super sunny, maybe, I don't know how deep the shell is. The sun is still pretty low, so if they shade it a little bit, yeah?
Okay.
Thank you. We give them 2 hours, and if nothing happens in 2 hours, we bring them down, and that was our last effort. Yeah? I always find spiking up pretty impressive. I get the babies ready. I think it's not going to take long. It was really minimal interference. And we set ourselves a 2 hours deadline. And they have been fed, and they still have pretty good crops.
Last Friday was just depressing for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why it's so important. Came back on Friday, he said, you know, the guys out there, they're not used to this kind of disappointment. Yeah. I'm more used to it because things like that, you work with birds, things go like that. Renestings, even if you put a baby back in its own nest, it's always a gamble. Yeah. You never have a guarantee. You have 27 minutes, 27 and a half minutes. That's better than nothing.
We waited for about 2 hours, and there was a few of us watching and hoping, and Mom and Dad never come back to the nest, and it kind of took everybody down a little bit, and it kind of bummed everybody out. But it wasn't to the level what the initial cut the tree down with the nest in it was.
Sorry, buddy, that didn't work. Mommy didn't come. Georgie, bird parents do care. They do care. They have invested a lot of time to establish a territory, hold it against their neighbors, find a mate, build a nest, lay eggs, incubate those eggs. There's a lot of effort gone into this.
The reality is, we did everything we could. I think that for me was a saving grace because I knew we turned every stone. There was nothing more we could have done. We gave it every attempt because it's the right thing. That's what the taxpayers of Oregon expect, is for us to do the right thing. And we did. And unfortunately, the turnout of it, those chicks had to go to the Raptor Center, and it was a bummer day, but the reality was that we did everything we could. Right? We made some good relationships in a bad situation.
Maybe it's not so bad that it went that way, because it did show, if it would have worked, we would have all thought, oh well, not a problem, we couldn't do that anytime. The fact that it failed, despite all the efforts, shows us that translocation and rehypnosinosis is a really complicated, sensitive issue. It's not lightly done. Luckily, the boys turned out really nicely. It was a lot of work because we were super worried about imprinting them. But Lachlan and Georgina. It's not a George, it's a Georgina. They are now, since a couple of days, they are with a wild youngster, and their responses or their reaction to that new, slightly older brother were completely normal. We release them. We're looking at a site out on the coast, Munster Lake. It's one of the small inland lakes, a little bit off the coast. The lesson learned for everybody involved is pretty big with this, and I'm really happy with that whole cooperation.
Every person cared about those chicks. And it was almost weird that every person wanted success there. From the crane operator to the fallers, to the climbers, to the contract project manager, from ODOT, every person wanted success. Even though it didn't end up where we wanted to, that's a win. We looked at that as a win.